Hello and welcome to the tutorial. So earlier this week you saw me do a demonstration, 3 slides with a couple of simple animations and transitions. And so in today's PowerPoint tutorial, I am going to show you how to do those transitions and animations. You may notice a couple of things. You may notice that the version of PowerPoint that I'm using is different from what you're using, but that's fine. I'm going to go through it very slowly. I'm going to name all of the functions that I use so that you can find them on your version of PowerPoint, whatever it is you're using. You'll also notice the illustration that I used in this presentation tutorial is a bit different from the demonstration, but that's because in the demonstration I used something that I actually created for a client, and because I'm giving away the slides with this tutorial, I don't want to give away what I created for the client. So it's a little bit different, but everything else is the same. All right, so let's get into it. So let's review what the slides look like. The first one is like this. The main thing here is the ticker animation on the right-hand side. And then you go to the next one. You've got the Wi-Fi signals coming and going. And then you go to the third one, which is the spinning cog on the left-hand side. All right, so let's dive into it. The first slide. Now, the first slide, this ticker thing, I just want to share with you this ticker. It's done using a trick animators use called masking. And to explain that, I just want to share with you this slide here. It's just a normal circle shape and a rectangle shape that I created using the shape drawing tool, right, in PowerPoint, which you should be familiar with. You know how in PowerPoint you have layers. What I mean by that is when you create something that's on one layer and you create the next thing that's the second layer in front of the first layer. So one of these things is in front of the other. Let me just to check, you just have to click on one of the things, like I'm clicking on the circle. I'm going to drag it down. Oh, okay, so the circle is on the first layer and the rectangle is on the second layer, and that's why it's in front. Right? If I wanted the circle now to be in front of the rectangle, all I have to do is I have to cut the circle and paste it back again, hitting Control X or Command X, and then hitting Control V or Command V to paste it. So now it's on a new layer, and I'm going to bring it down, and you can see it's now in front of the rectangle. In terms of masking, what masking means is you actually have a foreground that looks like the background and something in between the two. So when you move that thing in between the two layers, you sort of make it disappear. So to make this rectangle shape the same as the background, all I have to do is click on the rectangle shape until you see a format shape panel appear on your right hand side. Okay, and you just have to change the color of the rectangle by looking at the fill color here, clicking on that choice option selector, color selector, and clicking on white. Right? So now the rectangle is exactly the same as the background, right? And so what happens is when you bring this circle, oh, sorry, I've got to make the rectangle in front of the circle. So I'm going to click on the rectangle shape, going to hit Control X and then Control V. And so now what happens when I drag this circle down is it disappears into what looks like it disappears into thin air. So that's masking. So let's take that a step further. If you have a slide with a picture like this, the pictures just fits nicely into that slide. If you have a slide that looks like this, and I wanted to have this circle, let's just copy this circle into this slide. Move it to the side here a bit so it's not hitting the tower. Let's say I wanted to do a mask on this slide. It's going to be a bit trickier because now it's no longer just a plain white background. It's a colorful picture in the background. So what happens if I want to make this circle disappear right about here? I need to create a mask here. What do? Well, so what I do is I click on the picture. I hit Control C to copy it, and I hit Control V to paste it, and you get this new picture exactly the same. I'm just going to align it exactly as with the first picture. So this is on the third layer, right? And now I need to just trim it down so that you can see the circle. To do that, you just double click the picture until you get a picture format ribbon on your menu, right? In here, you will see there is a crop tool. Just hit the crop tool, and what happens is you get this frame that appears around your picture, and you can crop this picture however you wish. I'm just going to drag this down And when you drag it down, you can see the layers below it. And I'm just going to drag it down a little, right about here, and then I'm going to let go and click outside of this frame. And so now you wouldn't know it, but there's two layers here. This is mask in front, and there's a picture in the background. And when you drag the circle down, oops, sorry. When you click on the circle and you drag it down, it disappears behind the mask. It's like magic. Let's just say I want to create another mask up here. I want to make it appear out of nowhere first and then disappear into nowhere. So what I do is, again, I do the same thing, copy the original picture in the first layer, Control C, and then hit Control V to paste it on top, align it again, align it, make sure it's well aligned, and then double click it, click on crop, and then drag it all the way to the top of the circle, somewhere around here, and then let go and click outside. And so now I've got this one here, and the circle in the middle. So if I move this up, it sort of disappears and disappears again. How cool is that, right? Now, the next trick I want to share with you is, it's not really a trick. This is a simple animation. So you know how when you want to animate an item, you click on the item and then you click on the animations menu on the ribbon, and you get all these options for how you want to animate this item to enter or exit or just emphasize itself, right? So I want to make sure that this sort of flies in from either the top or the bottom. So I click on the picture or the circle and I click on fly in the animation ribbon. And what happens is it's going to fly in from the bottom. That's the default for the fly in animation. And you can change that, you know, in your ribbon or in your panel. You will see that there's options for you to change. I'm going to walk through some of them right now. So the first one here is effect options. For this animation, you can choose where this element is going to come from. At the moment, it's coming from the bottom, and that's fine. I'm going to leave it like that. You can also choose when you want this animation to start. Do you want it to start when you press the click, when you click on the mouse or on the screen, or do you want it to start with something that happens alongside it, or something that just happened before that, right? And how fast do you want it to go? You can actually change how fast this animation takes place. And all of that items appear on your animation pane as well. If you want to see your animation pane, you just have to click on the animation pane button on the ribbon. Let's go into this. So if I click on play now, it comes from the bottom, but it's a bit too fast and I want it to actually bounce when it finishes. So to do that, I click on the actual animation event, click on timing, and then I want it to start as soon as the slide appears. So I have to say click with previous, and I want it a bit slower, so I'll just change that to medium, 2 seconds. And if I go into effect options, you'll notice that there's a couple of check boxes here. I want it to start smoothly and I want it to bounce at the end. All right, so let's have a look at what this looks like now. Do you notice that it smoothly comes into the picture and then bounces at the end? Let's try that again. Nice, right? Okay, so the next thing I want to do is a numbering here. Okay, I'm going to do a row of numbers: 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. So what I've done here is I've created a text, like 3 text boxes, and in these text boxes I just put in the numbers, the digits 1 to 9, and then 1 to 9, 1 to 9, repeating these digits again and again. And then I've aligned them in such a way that these 3 digits are next to each other, and I've colored them green because that's what the final number is supposed to be, 126%, right? Okay, and now what I do is I animate each of these text boxes to fly in. This one, if you notice here, is flying in from the bottom with previous and very slowly, with a smooth start and with a bouncy end. The second one flies in from the top with previous, 5 seconds, very slow, with a smooth start and a bouncy end. And the third one again from the bottom with previous 5 seconds, smooth start and bouncy end. And so when you play them all together, what it looks like is this. This is how it looks like. Can you see that again? Very nice, very nice. So now what I got to do is I got to mask the top and I got to mask the bottom. So if you put all of those things together, let's go back to that original slide. This is what it looks like. You've got this illustration. I'm going to drag it back a little bit so you can see that there is the original picture in the first layer, and then all of the things in the middle, and then this layer on top, right? So that sort of becomes the mask. And again, there's a mask on top here so that you don't see these numbers coming in or going out. So when you press play, that's how you get the ticker. And there you go. That's the first one. That's the first one. Slide number 2 pushes in from the right hand side. And I'll talk a little bit about that transition later. But what I want to show you now is this Wi-Fi signal that's coming and going. So basically what I did was, I'm just going to show you where I got this from. Here, iconmonster.com is where I go to get my icons. I typed in Wi-Fi, and then you get all these symbols, these icons that you can download. I chose this one, and then I select the type of file that I want to download. It's PNG, so it's transparent. Change the color to a bit of a green that I like. Okay, click on yes, I agree, and then I download it. And there you go, you get it onto your system, and you just put it onto your slide by pasting it onto your slide. So we've got this icon here, right? And we want to make sure that it's going to appear and disappear, but in sort of like a first bar, second bar, third bar. Well, so I'm going to use this wipe animation effect. And what happens is it wipes from the bottom to the top. And again, you can choose which direction you want it to wipe from. You can go from the left to the right, which doesn't really help us in this sense because we want it to appear as if it's like a Wi-Fi signal. So it's wiping from the bottom. All right, and so if I click on that item in the animation pane, if I want it to appear as soon as the slide appears, I just say with previous. I want it to go a bit slower, so I'll put medium. And I want it to keep on looping, so I'll just say until the next click. I'm going to play this slide. This is what it looks like. Still a bit fast, so let's just change that speed. Click on the picture, click on the animations pane, click on the element, and choose medium. Now let's have a look at that slide again. All right. So if you copy and paste that, Control C and then Control V to paste it again, now you've got 2. Let's do that one more time. You get 3, and one more time you get 4. Okay, arrange them in whatever positions you want, and then if you play them now, they sort of all appear at the same time, which is all right, but you want it to look a little bit more realistic, a little bit more interesting. You want something to start after the other. You don't want it all to start the same. So if you go back to your animation pane and you choose a second one, there is this delay here. Can you see the timing? Under timing, you have a delay option, and I'm just going to put 1 second delay for this one. Check the next one. I'm going to do a 0.5 second delay for this one. 1 second later as well. So let's have a look. Much more interesting, don't you think? And so that's how I did this effect. So let's go back to slide number 2. You'll notice that I've got all of those icons in there, and that's what they're doing. Let's just play. There you go. That's the second slide. Now, finally, let's move into slide number 3. So, slide number 3, there is a cog that spins on the right hand side. So what I did was I went to Chrome and I searched, images for cog, right? And then I made sure to choose transparent. So it's transparent background. and labeled for reuse, which means I could reuse this in my work. So I went through all of this and I found this particular image and I just copied it. So right click and click copy image and then pasted it in here. This is what it looks like. And then I just changed the, the color. If you double click the picture, you'll have a picture format ribbon, and in there you've got color. So I've changed it to this light colored here, and under recolor you've got this light color. Let's make it look like this. And then I still wanted it to be a little bit transparent. Double click the picture, and in the format picture panel on the right hand side, again click on the small picture, and then picture transparency. There's a transparency here, and just make it a little bit more transparent, 45 42%. Okay, that should be about right. All right, so now you've got this in here. All you got to do is double click the picture, go into the animations panel, animations ribbon, and look for, in the emphasis menu, look for spin. Can you see that? Spin. Click on spin and it sort of spins. So that's a bit too fast. So I'm going to go into timing. I'm going to make sure it starts with the slide itself when the slide appears. I'm going to make it a bit slower. So I'll click on slow, 3 seconds. And I'm going to make it repeat until the next click. So it just keeps on going until someone clicks. So let's have a look to see what that looks like now. I like it. All right, so now what we're going to do is move it to the side, so half of it's out of the slide and half of it's inside the slide. And then when you click on play, this is what it looks like. Still a bit too fast, right? So again, just click on that, change it to, under timing, go to slow and go very slow. And then when you click on play, this is what it looks like. Very nice. And so if you look at the third slide, this is what it looks like. There you go. But before I go, I want to talk about the transitions. So let's go back to the 3 slides that are together. If you notice what happens, the first slide appears, and when you transition to the next one, it sort of feels like you're actually stretching out into the next half of the same picture. And to do that, all you need to do is make sure that the first picture and the second picture are aligned. So you can see that the line at the bottom of this first picture and the line at the bottom of the second picture are aligned. They are exactly on the same height. And then click on the second slide, which is this one, and then go to the transitions ribbon and use the push transition. Okay, when you click on push transition, the default is actually to push from the bottom, but you want it to push from the right. Can you see? So click from right, and that's it. So when you go to the first slide and you click on play, you get the first slide appearing, animations and all, and then when you click on next, it pushes to the right, from the right. And then the next one pushes from the bottom. All right, and so that's how I did these 3 slides. All right, so thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any other questions, you can find me on lightanimations.com, or every week I am hoping to release a new tutorial on LinkedIn. So follow me, and if you found this useful and if you think someone else might find this tutorial useful, please send them the link to sign up. And yeah, I really appreciate that. All right, have a great day ahead, guys. Thanks very much. See you in the next video. Bye.